to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So I loved your store. I went in it for the first time the other day. Love it. It's so beautiful. Why did you start this eye candy?
It's so weird. I mean, it's not like I dreamed of it my whole life. It just, things happened. And I started with a fashion truck. I was the first fashion truck in the Central Valley. And I don't know if you've ever seen it driving down the road. It's probably 14 years ago, but it was this big catering truck that was marked like a zebra. And it had like a hot pink eye candy with, you know, big diamonds all over it.
I wasn't here 14 years ago, so probably not, but that sounds amazing. I love that.
It was fun. It was inside, you know, it was an old catering truck, and my husband and I retrofitted it. It had hardwood floors and directional light, had a dressing room.
Do you still have it?
No, I sold it 5 years ago. I've got some cool pictures of it, but it's to answer how did eye candy become about, it was, I had a jewelry business where I made jewelry, and then it got bigger, and then people were like, well, I want you to come to my house, and so I did that, but I hated setting it up and taking it down.
That is a pain in the butt.
It was a huge pain. It took the fun out of it.
I did that for my friend, actually, who had jewelry. I did that, set it up, and I was like, oh, wow, this is a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. You'd spend as much time setting up, taking down as you were there.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's got to be a way, and I'm like, man, I need to maybe do it in a car or something. And then I said, if nobody does this, there's a reason why. And so I started Googling it, and I saw that people in like LA were doing that. And I'm like, okay, I told myself if somebody else was doing it, I'll do it. But if not, there's a reason why. So that's how we started. And then it just turned into a brick and mortar. And I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on my 5th brick and mortar now.
And why do you keep changing different spots?
Well, we started so small. My first brick and mortar was 450 square feet. And it was in Madera.
Okay.
And then we got a bigger one.
Did you live in Madera?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I live in the Ranchos right now.
Okay.
So it was in the city, and each time, and when maybe a young person will ask me, you know, what advice do you have for starting a business? I tell them, go small, start small.
I agree.
And that's what I did. I would little steps, a little bit bigger store, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And there have been a couple of times where I've had 2 stores going at once, but
you don't want to do that again?
It's not fun. You know, almost takes the fun out, because I feel like that I need to be in the store, and I can only be at one place at one time. Correct. And then it turns into a lot of stress, and then I forget I have to be there, you know. And if wherever I'm not, it seems like that's I don't know. It's hard to have 2. So 1 is the magic number for me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So now you're in Clovis. I love the location. I love the store. How'd you find this one?
I wanted to be in Clovis for a couple of years, and nothing down in Old Town opens up. You know, once you're there, you stay there. And most of the places are really small anyway, and I didn't want to go backwards and go smaller. So I just waited a couple of years, and nothing ever opened up. And we are 7th in Pulaski. Everything else is like between 3rd and 5th, and then maybe down 6th, the Foundry, which is a wonderful store, but they're just a little bit up. And if you're not from here, then maybe you'll miss the Foundry. But they're really successful, but we're still another block and a half up from them. So I didn't want to go in that space, because it is a little bit harder, because you've got to know we're there. You've got to be willing to walk a couple of extra blocks. But after a couple of years, my lease was about up at River Park, and I wanted to be in Old Town, so I just said, I'm going to do it. I'll go 7th in Pulaski.
I love it, and I love the clothes. The clothes are so cool.
Thanks.
You have a lot of bands. You rock a lot of bands. Are these your favorite bands? Is that why?
Yes, I love music. I mean, who doesn't love music?
I love music.
It's
I'm a huge
in my
Fleetwood
soul.
Mac fan, so when I saw that jacket, I was like, oh my goodness.
I make those, you know.
Well, this is like so cool. So you make a lot of the clothes. You went from making jewelry to actually making the clothes?
Yes. So I have a brand in the store called Dirty Hippie, and it's an upcycled clothing brand. And we, I'll get used flannels, used graphic tees, used denim jackets, old Levi's, And then I embroider thousands of patches. And we have the Dirty Hippie Bar, which the event we have on Friday, that's where the wine's going to be.
Which I'll be hosting. So we're going to come over to sing, drink wine, and buy clothes. Three of my favorite things.
Yeah.
So.
Music and alcohol and fashion.
And cupcakes. We have cupcakes.
Yes. Yeah. I think they're going to be pink too. So.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are we celebrating on?
We are celebrating Dolly's birthday party. Dolly Parton's birthday. And I don't know how old she is. I haven't done the math, but I think she was born in like 1946. So however old she is. But yeah, we're going to do a birthday party, and you're going to be our MC.
I'll be Dolly.
Are you going to wear a wig?
I will wear whatever you guys want me to wear or not wear. Let's do this.
But yeah, so we're just going to have a fun night and karaoke / open mic night. So whoever wants to come and hang out, and Amrita Sellers will be there with the wine. And we've got our cupcake girl. What's her business name?
With Danielle's Cupcakes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. Sorry. But yeah, and we'll have complimentary coffee. Somebody asked today, what's it cost to get in? It's free admission. Just come and hang out.
Bring your checkbook if there's a lot of clothes.
Yes, in the front of the store where all the clothes are, there's always a special going on during these events. So you'll save some money if you decide to shop.
That's what I was trying to tell my friends, because I know that this is kind of like our fashion, and I really wasn't seeing like a boutique that like provided us with our fashion.
Really? Good.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it, and I don't say that about like any store. So
yeah. Well, good. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a fun. I mean, that's the goal, just to have fun. And we're grouping up with Gottschalk's Music Center, so they are providing all of the audio equipment, and
they have great stuff there. I like
they
that.
do. Yeah, and Marcos, he's the store manager. He's really supportive, and he says, Stacy, I just want to support you. So they're good people down there, and
it's good to have that community and have the Old Town, and you guys, the stores support each other.
That's how I feel about Old Town. It is wonderful at Old Town. Kelly Bain, who has Rory's inspiration,
she's been on here with that.
Yes, I know she has, and she's actually, I think, how we met.
And she has a huge display in your store. I love that.
She has a huge display. She comes every day of the week for a few hours, and she wraps jewelry in the back. So if you're wanting to see how it's done, she makes custom pieces.
That's cool.
You pick out your stones, and she wraps it. Her husband cuts and polishes all the stones. It's a real group effort. It's very cool. They have a great story. But yeah, today she handed out flyers for Friday night down to all the Old Town Clovis merchants, and she said, Stacy, every single person was like, oh yeah, hey, let me post this, and I'm taking a picture, and I'm inviting so-and-so. It's a real sense of community.
And the bar is really awesome that you set up there, because I'm trying to explain to people, and there's like, wait, we're going to go drink at a store, and I'm like, no, they set this up, and it is amazing. Did you guys build some of that, or like the wood and all that?
So that, you must have not looked close. You gotta, when you come in on Friday, you'll see it.
I'm overwhelmed by all the cool stuff to look at. And no, it looked homemade, but I didn't know if you guys built it.
No.
You can tell it's built, it's wooden.
Yeah, so it's wood, and it's all upcycled barn wood that we pulled off of a barn. And the tops of it are glass, because when you look through the glass, you see all the hundreds of patches that I make that you can choose to put on these upcycled clothes. So
cool.
You design your own. Like you said, it's a ton of music, Def Leppard, and we have a lot of Disney patches and stuff, but yeah, you get to design your own.
There's kind of something for everybody.
Yep. And during Friday's event, we're going to do a lot of giveaways. We have a lot of Dolly patches. So
I like giveaways.
Yeah, if you perform that night, if you do a karaoke, you get like a hat with a Dolly patch on it, and if you dress in pink, or you dress like Dolly, or basically just bring some fun, we're going to give you patches, and then you can have the patches, sewn on a jacket, or we have some on hats if you just want to take a hat, but if you're not a hat girl, you might want to bring in a jacket, and we'll sew it on it for you. But yeah, you can walk away with 4 or 5 different patches that night.
I just have some holes in my clothes. I need to put like a patch on. So
yeah, and you don't want just one patch. You want like a ton of them. So
like this is what it was supposed to look, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I love that you guys have that. And then so everything was great about the store. Oh, my only request is, can you make belly rings?
I can't make belly rings.
I can make jewelry.
Well, I haven't done that in so long.
Oh my gosh! If you make that, you will be my hero.
Well, what if we
Everything
just
else
sell some belly rings?
Okay, but I mean, you just make great things. I figured you could.
I don't really do the jewelry anymore because we got too busy.
So basically, that's where you have Rory's Creations come in, because now they're doing the jewelry. They do a great job, and you're doing the clothes. Okay, I like that. That's fun.
Yeah, and we get a lot of our things from the fashion district, like all the other boutiques do. We go down to...
But you make it yours. You add the patches, you add the Fleetwood Mac, you add the Def Leppard.
Or even Dolly, like during the rodeo is a really big time for us. We get really busy. It's better than Christmas, honestly. It's busier down there.
Yeah, but you make everything so authentic, because you're not just getting flannel. Now it's like a little bit of flannel and a little bit of this. And
we have the big hats, and we do custom hats, with the feathers and the bands, the hat bands. And
so you really can almost do whatever anybody wants. So if somebody comes in, someone has a birthday coming up, and they said, I want this on a shirt, or this is my jam, you could kind of do it.
Yeah, and we even do parties back there. Like, we've done dirty hippie birthday parties.
You have the bar for it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we had a gal come in, and all of her friends, she's like my age, and at our age, my age, I know you're younger than me, but at my age, we don't hardly ever do anything for ourselves, So her friends got together, and they all, I guess, over the years have gone to kind of a concert. I forget what the rock concert was. Kind of like Maroon 5, but it wasn't Maroon 5. I don't remember what it was. But they had tons of T-shirts that they had gotten at all these concerts. So they surprised her, and they all brought their old T-shirts, and I made a ton of patches from those bands. And they just spent the whole party making jackets and stuff and picking the patches, and we would cut up the T-shirts and sew them on the back. What a fun way to
spend time with your friends.
Of course, there was wine and stuff, so...
Well, because they have paint parties, but I'm like, that's actually more useful because we want to wear clothes. I like that better.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's my thing. We're actually having a paint party.
I saw that. I do like paint parties. But I'm like, I kind of like that better a little bit. But
I do too. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. So of course I like it better. But
okay, so what's the idea of that? If we do have a party idea and we want to come and do a party, do we pay you, or do we? How does that all work?
Well, the way that we did that one was. I didn't charge any more than I would just for somebody to come in and make a jacket.
Okay.
We just kind of closed down the back for them, and then they all had the back to themselves, and that was all about that band. Like, it was a little less overwhelming because there's hundreds of patches to choose from. So we had all of their preset patches. I'd made a bunch of them, and they didn't get to take everything home that day because they design it, and then I make it, and within a couple of weeks I call them and I say, all right, everybody's jacket's done. But
I love that you have that space, but it kind of can be like for rent though. So if you have different people, like I know a lot of people have quilting parties, all kinds of parties.
Yes.
You're open to all of that.
Oh yeah. We're doing paint night back there. We're doing Galentine's, which is a paint night, and you can go to our social media. It's iCandyFashion_boutique, something like that. But yeah, so we're doing that paint party, and then we're doing a couples paint party on Valentine's Day. We haven't advertised it yet, but we'll probably get it up
this
tomorrow.
Is the first I've heard of that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I guess the couple will come in and they're painting. They each have their own canvas, but when you put them together, they make like an art installation.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And there'll be food and wine, and because nobody can go out on Valentine's Day. There's just too many people at every restaurant. So this way, you call ahead, and you reserve your spot. And I think we're only going to do 10 couples that night, so it'll be fun and just private, and of course you're going to get a seat.
Are you going to paint? Are you going to be one of the people painting with your hubs?
Probably not. I'll probably be working it, but I'll definitely be there. I'm going to do a party in probably about 6 weeks, and it's a dirty hippie apron party. So I'm taking old Levi's and cutting them up and making an apron out of upcycled Levi's, and then we're doing patches all over it. And the workshop is they get to pick out the patches, and they're going to kind of place them where they want them, and rather than sewing them on, which is what I do, we're going to use the heat press, and they're going to heat press them on.
Oh, you're going to show them the whole works.
Yeah.
The process. I love that. Yeah. And then you do a lot with hats. You also have like baseball caps and actual like rodeo hats.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yep, all of it. My daughter does a lot of, she burns on them, like designs and pictures and song lyrics.
And purses too. You guys also?
We don't really do any purses.
Oh, okay.
No, we do. I do upcycled Louis Vuitton purses. That's right.
So I saw purses. Yep. I was like, I really like that.
Yes, we do. There are times when we have a ton, but because I do them and I do all these other things, we're down to one right now.
No way,
Yeah.
really?
But we have probably 40 more waiting to be refurbished. You know, I add the fringe and all the stuff that makes them a
So we
completely
can almost
different
just
thing.
take your junk and you'll do something cool with it.
Yes, I love to upcycle.
I
That's
love
like
that.
my passion. That's my passion. My husband calls me a hoarder, but I don't think it's hoarding.
Well, your store looks great. You definitely are hoarding there. So maybe you're hoarding at home, and that's why he's like...
Yeah, I think he's learned that it's actually useful stuff, you know, but I don't like to throw anything away.
Okay, so Friday night in Old Town Clovis, what time do we start at Eye Candy?
So it's 7 o'clock Friday night.
7 to 9.
This Friday.
So yes, we can come there. They're right, all the bars. So afterwards, we go to Ruby's next door, and that's another thing we should tell everyone. You're next to Ruby's,
Yes.
the bar. So if anyone's confused about where they're located, it's next to Ruby's.
We're 756 Pulaski. We're in between Ruby's and the Craft House. It's another restaurant next door to us, and they have a lot of craft beer. So
we're going to be drinking some.
yeah, there's alcohol everywhere.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. I'm so happy to be working with you. I'm so happy for this event. So
Me too. I'm so excited to have you there.
The community needs to come out, show some support. It's just a couple hours. You can go party afterwards and all that stuff.
It's your primer for the evening. Get primed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So come on out, guys. Thank you for coming on the show today. What is this?
What is this? So this is some food from Mamma Mia's. It's an Italian, basically started out with a takeout delivery kind of a place. And so everything's, we do is by hand.
Everything, even the noodles?
Yeah, because if we did it with our feet, that would be kind of crazy and weird. I don't know if he would. But yeah, I mean, it's been around since 1969. And like I said, it's a legacy for people that know it. A lot of people don't know it. We don't advertise. It's just been,
Really?
Yeah, we don't at all, no. And so it's just word of mouth. And then about 6 years ago, we opened a second location, Tower District, with Lucy's Lounge. And that's been a great venture for Lucy's and Mamma Mia's.
How did you guys get involved in this?
You know what? It really goes back. You want the whole story?
I want the whole story because this is actually my favorite pizza.
Yeah.
This is my favorite pizza in town.
Thank you.
I won't put down any other pizza places in town, but
No.
this is by far my favorite pizza place in town. Before, I knew you or whatever, I always loved it.
Yeah, no. Well, so really, I'm going to go far back. So
Okay,
really,
let's
it
go
started
far
when I
back.
was about 5 years old. True story. Started when I was about 5 years old. I thought, I need to break away from the family. It's time. So I headed off to kindergarten. And then, no, it's a true story. So I'm in kindergarten and met some friends and met a girl. And we did finger painting.
Do you remember her name?
Water paints. I do. I'll get to that in a while. So I don't want to get off track. So long story short, we did, water painting, snacks, graham crackers and milk, walks on the playground, naps. And then it was wonderful. And I thought, you know what? This is it. School is for me. And I thought, I'm going to make a career going to school. Well, then first, second, third grade came along. And then it got a little complicated because here came the ABCs, cursive, spelling, and then, A's, capital A, little a, B. So anyway, life got a little bit complicated. And I realized, you know, I don't know if school's for me. So along the whole time, my parents were, you know, they came from Italy. So they were, you know, we're the first generation.
Right, okay.
In America. So my parents were from Italy. So when they came here, they opened a restaurant. So we were always in the restaurant business. But like I said, it's a true story. Being in kindergarten, I was little. So first, second grade, third grade, I realized school was, you know, complicated. It really was. You know, I didn't quite, you know, get it. And then all the letters, the verbs, nouns, you know, I just couldn't quite.
You knew how to speak Italian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could speak it. But so anyway, back to the school thing. You know, so basically along the way, I always worked in the restaurant business. And so like I said, my family had Mike's Pizzeria, and so that's where I grew up. And the whole time along going to school, I was always working too. You know, bus boy.
You started really young. The moment they could put you to work, you were working.
That's why I say, you know, it sounds funny, kindergarten, but really that's my youngest memory.
You didn't know any other way.
I have a younger memory than that. That was going to Italy, you know, for the first time. But, you know, kindergarten, I do. I remember it like, so, you know, you said the girlfriends. There was actually two of them. There was Beth and Megan. So I remember them. Megan, I still, you know, kind of know and, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, long story short, you know, this is a true story. So I realized, so my parents were from Italy and all that. So seventh grade came along, and my little sister, my mom, and me, we went to Italy because my mom had her parents there, and you know there was a lot of family in Italy. But it was kind of my first time. Like I said, I went when I was 3 years old.
Yeah, the first time remembering having the experience of Italy.
Yeah, exactly. So it was my seventh grade. So we went during Christmas time, and I brought my backpack with books. I was supposed to do work over there. Well, I didn't really. I brought the books, but I never opened them. And then along the way, my sister, well, I'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, being in Italy, it was amazing. I was like, you know, I don't know how to explain it to this day, but it was just, you know, to go back and find family that, you know, I was like celebrity. I was like royalty when I landed.
I love that.
Because this family knew me, but I really didn't know them, you know, because they saw me when I was 3 years old. But here I am, you know, seventh grade, you know, me and my sister, we were just, you know, we were going to family's house. We were, you know, drenched with gold, you know, just, you know, we were just, you know, rings and, you know, just, we were just so, you know, loved and missed. So with that, I remember my grandmother, she was probably 4 foot, you know, tall and, you know, maybe 70, 80 years old. But every morning she would get up at 4 or 5 in the morning making bread for the, you know, for the family. Everybody had their job. My uncle, he had, everybody kind of lived. It wasn't a ranch, but it was like an acre, you know, of a house, and there was 2 or 3 levels. So everybody kind of lived in the same house. But long story short, I don't know if you're going to have time for all this.
All right, so you were in seventh grade. You saw all this function.
So long story short, in Italy, I helped have a cow being born. My grandmother would make bread in the morning, and then, you know, the afternoon there was chickens running around, and you know the chickens were killed and cooked, and there was just so much different life than what I was used to here. You know, the love and just seeing, you know, foods being done. My grandmother had 1 tooth, and she would cut bread when we were, you know, the table was this long, just for lunch. You know, bottles of wine on the table. And my grandmother would, you know, she made the bread and pasta for the lunchtime. You know, she started at 4 in the morning, and then the bread was so hard on the outside but so soft on the inside. So that explains the 1 tooth. Either she ate the outside of the bread and had 1 tooth left, or she made the the center so soft because she only had the 1 tooth. I don't know. But long story short, you know, she would cut the bread. She'd come to your side and cut it like
wow, that's like restaurant style.
She cut it like she was playing the violin. But so the reason why this story is so important, because this is the truth of the story, is that I saw so much food being made, and then my uncle, you know, everything was homemade. That was on the table. The wine, we'd go, me and my
all
uncle.
the way from the chickens.
Yeah, me and my uncle would go down to, you know, like a, you know, just, you know, to a, you know, the house was 3-4 levels, and then we'd go down to, you know, where it was cooler, like a basement, and then we'd, you know, siphon wine into a bigger jug, and then bring it back up, you know. And nobody got drunk. It wasn't crazy. It was just, that was just living. It was life, you know. And then we played cards at night. It was just a wonderful time.
So you wanted to bring that experience back to us?
So, well, you know what it was it made me realize that, you know, I just loved what I was doing. You know, the school was fun. I loved school, being part of it. But long story short, it was the being involved, you know, with people and the love of food and just the love that it brings. You know, I know it now. I didn't know it then. But I mean, I know now how to explain the story. That's why I said it goes back to kindergarten. I really didn't set off to kindergarten to go off to, leave the family and all that. I mean, it's just that now I can explain the story better now that it really, now that I understand and look back and forward and all that. So, yeah, seventh grade, I stayed back that year. So when I came back, my little sister, she got sick over there, so we had to stay we were only supposed to miss like 2 weeks of school.
Oh, shoot, you missed a year.
No, I didn't miss a year, but I missed, it was Christmas time, so I missed 2 weeks of, legitimate 2 weeks because it was Christmas vacation. Then I was going to miss just 2 more weeks, so we were there a month. Well, then my sister got sick, so we stayed another month, and I really didn't even pick up the books that I brought, and then I missed the other part. So long story short, I didn't do that great anyway in school to begin with, so long story short, I ended up staying back that year. So that's kind of how then I just kind of got my way through high school, and so once I finished high school, I just went really full on to work with my parents' restaurant until I was 21, and then I had a little bit saved, and then Mamma Mia's was a legacy that's been around for a long time, and a lot of Bullard High School and
okay, so you're around that, got it.
Yeah, and so it was they were well known for the area, and a lot of time, those days at Bullard High School, Tenaya, a lot of kids, got to go to lunch, and they did, or they got passes to go off campus to go home to eat, and they would sneak off and go to Mamma Mia's, or I even snuck off here once.
Love that.
So that's how I knew about Mamma Mia's, and then when it was for sale, it was an older couple. They got older, and they didn't have any, family that wanted to, continue it, so they put it for sale, and it was, I was 21, and so I had some brothers and sisters that we were all together at Mike's, and so I had like I said, a little bit of money saved, and I talked to them about I wanted to buy it.
What did they think about it? What did your parents think about that?
You know what I mean? For us, it was we grew up in it, so it was
a normal transition for you to go off and do that. They had that, and then okay.
It was nothing shocking. My parents are the fourth generation. My grandfather, when he came here, he had a place called the Italian Village. It was by Memorial High School, and so he was in the restaurant. And then he married, then my dad, started Mike's Pizzeria. So back in that day, a lot of businesses were mom and pops,
right.
And a lot of people were from Italy. And when they came from Italy, it was either an uncle that came, or an aunt, or a relative. And so everybody's kind of, somehow family or related, or once the Italian, whoever it was that came here, they became close, because they had the same stories to share, or they knew the same,
right.
The same village, or they knew this, they had something in common, so they became good friends. And then, so that's kind of how I ended up with Mamma Mia.
So how many years have you had Mamma Mia?
So I got it in '88, basically in '88. I took it over, and then now I have 3 kids, and so now they own it. So basically they run it. Yeah. So one older son, Michael Anthony, runs Tower District, and then my other son, Lorenzo, he runs the Palm and Bullard. And then I have my daily jobs that I do, and I, trying to, pass the baton or whatever it's called, the torch, to them. So it takes a while, because it's a transition, because I still need a job, and and they still need me, and I need them, and so we're just it's a transition. So they've been running it for quite some time, really. They're the same way. There was no start date. They grew up in it.
And they love it. Well, that's great that they love it.
We grew up that way. My parents grew up that way.
Marci, you love it. Yeah. How did you get involved in this?
So, that's why I was going to kind of start. I was going to introduce her a little bit and then go from there. But, when I met her, basically, she grew up in the Mexican restaurants, and that was so.
Which ones?
I'll take it. Yeah.
So, okay.
Start in kindergarten?
Yeah, I was born there actually. It's 1969. I'm not going to give you the whole history of my life of it, but basically 1969.
We want the whole history. Don't leave anything out.
My grandparents opened a Mexican restaurant in Reedley called El Monte Restaurant, and my mother was pregnant of me when they opened it. And so when I was born, she put me in one of those old-fashioned wooden things that Pepsi bottles would come in. She'd make me a little crib in there and put me on, set me on the freezer.
While she worked?
While she worked in the kitchen. Yeah, so I grew up in the same, very similar background.
See, it almost goes back further than you. I didn't even know that was possible. Okay, here we go. You were in the...
Anyway, so when I met him, we had that in common. We both came from a restaurant family, both grew up in the restaurant. So I had a lot of knowledge, except the food was different. So if you're going to date this guy, you got to go to where he works because
that's the only way to spend time with them.
Yeah, that's our date nights.
So then you're like, you got involved and you started making, what's your favorite?
I'm not going to just stand, I'm going to make myself useful, I could just stand there and watch them work, but I'm like, the phone, that needs to be clean, I could take, I just.
Instead of her completing my sentences, she would complete my dishes. Something like that.
That is, I love that.
So it's fun, and so we grew up in that, but and the restaurant still exists today in Reedley. It's the same restaurant and stuff, but I don't work there anymore. I'm a teacher now. But
and you spend all your spare time helping this man.
Well, I love it because I don't want to lose it. Like he would say, it gets in you. It's in your blood, so it's something that all you know. But I kind of wanted to branch out and do something else too, for my future. But I love working there because I already have that in me, and so. Did
you learn new things about this Italian food? Because this is great. So you guys make all this by hand? Oh my goodness!
Everything.
Wow.
Everything.
I don't know where to start, but yeah, this is our homemade bread rolls. This is our homemade lasagna. These are our homemade cannolis. We don't make the shells, but everything else.
I love that you brought that because I bet even people that love your pizza have no idea that they can get dessert
on the pizza,
and stuff.
there's homemade sausage. It's our homemade dough. I mean, everything. Like I said, we do as much as we can homemade.
And the viewers can see how amazing this is. This is so beautiful. And there's like
there's a spoon if you want a bigger scoop.
Okay, we'll get a little scoop on this. This is so delicious, and you guys deliver.
We deliver, yeah.
That's one of the best parts of it. I think a lot of people don't know.
So the Palm and Bullard location is really, it's really just a tiny little space. It's more basically a takeout and delivery. And like I said, it's been there since 1969, same spot.
Wow, that's
so now the tower location
I love mushrooms.
Is a lot different.
I love mushrooms.
The tower location is a lot different because, of course, it's we're roommates with Lucy's Lounge. So
and I think people love that because you can feed the bar.
It is.
They get to order from you guys. You guys have that bar thing.
Like I always say, it's been a great marriage between us and Lucy's. So yeah, that's been good. So yeah, trying to think of what else to.
Okay, so the bread rolls, you start early in the morning and start baking?
We do them every day. Sometimes we'll do them several times a day, depending on, we cater. We do a lot of catering, so.
And how does that work? So for weddings and everything, people can get you or not really?
We don't do too much weddings. I would say we're more, it has seasons.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's garlic cheese bread.
In the back.
I didn't even know. It's like I have bread for bread, and then we have.
Yeah, the garlic cheese bread is made with our homemade rolls. And then
oh my gosh, and I love artichokes. It's like you remember what I like on a pizza. That is amazing.
That half that's on your side, we call it the Mediterranean.
Oh my! Do you remember that this was my favorite? Oh my goodness!
I did, and I do. The only thing I think I used. Well, last time you said no onions, but I put it just like.
Oh, I love onions. No, I do. Okay.
Well, there was something I think you said last.
Olives,
time.
bell peppers.
I don't know, but anyway.
Olives, green peppers, or what's that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I absolutely love this. This is amazing, and I can't believe you remember. So is that how you usually are? You remember what your customers like?
What's funny is that's exactly how we are. I mean, a lot of times I don't know customers' names. But I'll remember them by light cheese, no sauce, or
the sausage
light
guy,
cheese, extra pepperoni. I mean, that's
oh
even the rest of us will remember.
This is so amazing.
We'll try to explain it's that person's coming in. Like
there we go.
That person John's coming in for his. He said, hey, you'll know he's coming. I said, John, because I know several Johns or several Toms or. And then when they say, well, he got a calzone with extra meat or no sauce, and I was like, oh yeah, exactly who he is. No, I'm good.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so that's so yeah, really, again, the truth of the story is I love people, and employees, customers, our customer base is again, it's really family based because we don't advertise, so they come in. And they come in with they'll tell someone else, or we reach them through a catering, or they never knew about us, or just stuff like that. It's just and then my kids, they've come up. And so sometimes I don't know them, but I know the kids know them. So then they happen to know me because.
What's a secret you could say about what makes your pizza different than other places? Because I really love this pizza. And I notice a difference, but I don't know what it is.
I'll be honest with you. I don't go around saying we're the best or nothing like that because like pizza. I love pizza. And. I love really, I'm a terrible connoisseur of pizza because I love pizza,
But what do you think makes it different than other people? Do you think you make the dough different? She was telling me something about the water, that you guys have experimented using water from New York. I don't know if we could talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, on my Facebook, it shows the video, but so me and my kids, we went to New York in July, and I've always heard, talking to people, that's like, well, or people that even come from New York that try to open a pizza place, like it didn't work because the water's is different. So I've always heard about New York water being special with bagels and pizza. So I never been to New York other than landing in the airport going to Italy, so I never really got to tour it. So this last July, me and the kids, we went there specifically to go eat and learn about the food and try to have fun along the way, and that's what we did. So I brought some New York water here, and everybody thought I was crazy, because they were like, it was like, what are you trying to do? Anyway, so I finally got I made it happen. We got it to happen. We bought some jugs. We went to a pizza place, told him what we were trying to do. He understood it. He goes, yeah, so he filled up some jugs for us, and we took it to UPS, and we shipped it here. And so, you know what? It was, I would say, like, even with New York, even in New York, I can't say if the water did a lot of amazing things, but I would say New York, what it is with New York is they eat a lot of pizza. I mean, every other spot is a pizza place. So, when people think of New York, with them and their pizza, I get it, because it's really just about their slices, and it's just the fast food, because everybody, New York is really like Tower District. Everybody's just walking around, there's food everywhere, and everybody's just walking. They're either walking to their job or walking home or walking, So that's kind of really, I mean, the water, like I said, we didn't see a big enough difference to bring it in,
But that's interesting that you still, even after all this time and your success, you still want to try new things like that.
I would say what the secret is we're still doing stuff by hand, So I mean, I think that's a big deal. The thing is, and also we're on site. It's family ran, so we're a mom and pop, business where, we're still making stuff. We're always there. Every day there's someone, that, there's a family member on site, and we're just making sure that best we can that everything is how we want it, and then we're doing a bunch of different things. We're doing a big menu. We're not just doing pizza. We're not just doing.
You also have
burgers.
pasta, salads. You guys have salads?
We have salads, yeah. I was going to bring a salad, but to me that's it was just not as exciting,
And then we have the desserts. The desserts are awesome.
I did bring dessert. Yeah.
I didn't even know you guys had it, so that's why I love that you have a salad. Do they have everything?
It's like super
Is it a
fresh.
full menu for both locations?
It's exact. Everything's exact. Like I said, my son does everything on site at the one location.
And your meatballs, you have really good meatballs. I eat your meatballs a lot in Tower.
Yeah, by hand. Yeah.
Very good.
Again, yeah, she knows. She's been there several times, helping, making them. And
They're big. Like, not people get balls that big.
Yeah. It's,
Big balls.
Yeah. They're big.
That's what makes it great.
Yeah, no, it's,
Okay, so how far do you guys travel if we want to order? Where do you, because you guys are both far from me. I live in like North Fresno.
Right.
So what would I call, like, how far will you guys travel?
So things have kind of taken a change because now there's Uber Eats, there's DoorDash, there's all these different places that deliver. So we go pretty much, we've traveled really far, different cities, but because we cater. So,
Right.
Like you say, we've done a couple weddings like, Pismo or, somewhere 3 hours away, and that's, we'll go that far for that. But now as far as like a slice of pizza or, calzone or just, a couple items, we try to stay within just a few miles, because now there's DoorDash and, they kind of go further.
So they can. So if I
Yeah.
want to get something in North Fresno, I just DoorDash it. If I
Right.
want to get like just a
Right.
pasta and a pizza.
Yeah. So that's kind of how, But I mean, again, if it's a big enough order, we'll deliver it, ourselves.
And every day, even on holidays, you guys open on Christmas and all that, or no?
not Christmas. So Palm and Bullard.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Palm and Bullard we close on Sunday. We're open 11 to 9 every day except Sunday. And then
Oh,
Towers.
you're completely closed on Sunday.
completely closed on Sunday, unless it's catering.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so like I'll
Interesting.
be there this Sunday. I have a catering.
Even with the football games and everything, you guys are closed.
We'll be
That's
open
why.
Super Bowl Sunday, because like I said, we get.
Oh, but you guys are still open in Tower on Sundays.
Well, Tower District is always open on
Okay.
Sunday. So Tower District's always open on Sunday. We're open till midnight, sometimes 1 in the morning. Whenever Lucy's closes is kind of when we close, on towards the
I know,
weekends.
I've gotten pizza late night. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
It really hit the spot.
yeah.
That's why I found out I love this
Well,
pizza.
and Tower District has a nightlife, so, we're able to stay open later there. We would, the Palm and Bullard, like I said, things kind of settle down by 9 o'clock, so we're pretty much, always been known to close there early, by 9 compared to Tower.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Everybody in town needs to come and try Mamma Mia's. You have 2 locations to go to. So come on out. Hi, Eric. How are you today?
I'm doing great now. I'm having a great day now. I'm hanging out with you, Sparkle.
I love how you have a cheat sheet here. You got to tell our viewers a little bit about your life and why we have a cheat sheet here.
16 years ago, my mother was told that I would not live, and if I lived, I would never walk or ever talk again. The entire right side of my body was paralyzed. I had no knowledge of anything, could not how to speak, couldn't taste food. I was pooping my pants, all due to viral encephalitis. I had just finished 2 massive movies. I did costumes in the movies. The last movie I worked on was Curious Case of Benjamin Button, where Brad Pitt's born as a little old man.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I wasn't a designer, but my designer did get nominated for the Oscar. And good one to end the career on.
So you did the clothes. You had a designer that won.
The designer is the one who designs us, and we're the costumers, so we're the ones who have to go find it out of all the costume houses.
You have to do the grunt work, the real.
Yes, we have to go and find the vintage fabrics, custom made, and all that sort of stuff. And
how exciting!
So it was a good one to end the career on. Good one to end the career
Definitely.
on. Yeah. And I was in Cambodia for about 2 days prior to have done that movie. I don't know the movie I did before that. I woke up, didn't feel well, went to the hospital. The next day it was 105 in temperature. They had to soak me in ice, fly me to Thailand. I told my mother I would not live, and if I lived, I would be mute and paralyzed for the rest of my life. And thankfully, my mother forced them to teach me how to walk, and then flew me back a month later. Found a place in Bakersfield through the computer and called them every day, and very firmly said, I will continue to call you every day until you interview my son. So they took me in for a year and a half, taught me Blue and Thumb and ABC.
Wow.
And I became a tourist to my life. I had no memory of anything, and I would watch TV at night, and I would think to myself, did I design this TV series, or do I know this actor or actress from somebody else, from other show, or did I see the show before? And then I started getting other memories of my life, and I am now realizing that I had a spectacularly great life. I'm writing a TV series. I've already written and protected the first episode of me saying goodbye to Brad Pitt and putting a little joint over my thing, and me almost dying, and this and that, and every episode we go to a different portion of my life. For instance, I told you a minute ago, I lived in Haiti for 6 months, and we had 2 government overthrows, 3 presidents, and no voting. I've been taken to Haiti as a child to participate in a voodoo ceremony when I was 6 years old.
Exciting.
Not exciting, a little scary. You have to be naked and they wash you, and the ladies were speaking in Creole about the little head of my weenie not existing.
Oh
my. Yeah, and then that same trip, this is another amazing thing. I had no memory of my life. The same trip that I had taken to Haiti as a child, I had a grandmother who had been a victim of Hitler during World War II, was raised in a concentration camp, and had come to the United States and climbed her way up the ladder financially and owned an oceanfront hotel south of Florida, north of Haiti. I don't know the name of the island.
I love when stuff like that happens.
Just amazing things in this country. Yeah, amazing opportunities in this country. Yeah, and another good story that I had no memory of, but I got the memory back, and some of them I really enjoy. I had gotten tickets to go see the movie Cats, the play Cats on Broadway. As about 15 years old, the teachers took us all to go see the plays in New York City. And there was a new club called Studio 54. So I sold my tickets to Cats and went to hit Studio 54. And boy, did I have a blast at 15 years old in Studio 54.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been an interesting few years having the memory of the life come back little by little.
What about your mom? When did you start to know your mom was your mom? Because
gosh, it probably took me about a year or so before I really sort of knew who was who and what their position was and stuff, because I had no recollection of any of it. But she was the one who took me into her home before they put me into the rehabilitation facility to learn how to speak.
So she had to deal with you just not even knowing anything.
None of it at all. And that's one of the reasons I told you a moment ago. She's having she's in a hospital right now, and
our prayers go out to her.
What? Yes, a lot of prayers are going out to her. But you know what? You give to others, and goodness comes back. You give good to others, and goodness comes back to you. Put bad out, and bad comes back to you. And I really think, she's going to come out of that hospital in a little while and do just fine.
So you were there in Cambodia trying to make a movie that you don't remember?
No, I had just finished Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and I was vacationing by myself. I used to travel. You work intense hours. You do 14, 15, 16 hours a day.
Right.
And then you get a couple months off oftentimes. And I had done, I don't know the movie I did. It might have been an action film. You can tell me. Colin Farrell and...
I'm so bad with names.
Oh my!
I have no excuses to be bad, but
I had done an action film, and they were all these special
Avengers?
agents. No, they have a TV series now Colin Farrell was the star. He's an Irish movie star, and a black rapper from the East Coast who's now a TV star. And the man, I don't know that. Anyways, it's playing the game. First word sounds like.
I know. Seriously, you can do that with your life.
Yes.
I love that, the board game version.
Yeah. So.
So you were vacationing by yourself. So somebody found you all messed up and called your mom.
Didn't feel right. Said take me to the hospital. They put me in those little 3-wheel bicycle things, motorcycle things, mopeds, whatever. Got me into the hospital. They checked me, and the next day I was 105 in temperature. They had to soak me in ice, put me in a private plane with one nurse, fly me to Thailand, and my adopted mother, who's a preacher, she was over there praying first. My brother showed up next, and then my mother and a cousin's daughter came over, and my mother very firmly said, please be out to walk today, and she's that's taken her a long way in this life, long way in this life. But yeah, it's been an extraordinary memory. I think I told you a minute ago I had the housemate who hung out with the President of the United States a couple times, Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
I had no memory of any of this stuff. I had a housemate, her goal in college was to marry financially very well. So that year when we were living together, her boyfriend, their family had a castle in England with a moat and a zoo in their backyard.
Oh, how nice.
And I said, what do you give your parents for Christmas when they own a moat? I mean, when they own a castle and a zoo? She goes, 2 black swans. I'd never even heard of black swans, but apparently they exist.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yes, but I will say this town has improved tremendously in the last 15 years. This downtown is getting gentrified quite a bit. The art movement has grown tremendously. We've got some amazing restaurants. Couldn't taste food for 2 years after I almost died. And this food from this lovely Italian couple, or the Italian company, that food was fantastic, delicious as can be. It's got the love flavor to it, and that's very distinct, that flavor,
And you came back here because your mom lived here.
She was living here at the time. I was not nearly as functional 10 years ago or so. I've tried to move back to LA a couple of times, but the price is very, very high there. And I was fortunate enough to buy a house here in Fresno for a great, amazing price. Didn't realize, though, that it was such a great price because we had a not gang member, but a gang leader selling meth out the front window. And they would buy their meth and then go to the vacant house on the other side and do their meth.
Is it still like that, or is it better?
No, it's been totally beautifully gentrified. We've got lovely neighbors all around. Lovely, cute couple on the corner gentrifying their house. The whole block has been beautified tremendously. And, this town, I think, is beautified quite a bit, especially what they've done with downtown. I'm really happy with what they've done with downtown.
So have you tried to go back into costuming, or not necessarily? I know you wrote your script and everything.
I'm doing a script. If I can, my goal is to get that one sold. I used to know a gal who was one of the original writers of Will and Grace, and she would quote words out of my mouth. And a friend of mine whose name is Reese Troop, his mother was a woman named Julie London. She was a huge jazz star. She did about 25 albums, and she's got a star on the Walk of Fame on Sunset Boulevard or Hollywood Boulevard. And his father was a guy named Bobby Troop, and he wrote "Get Your Kicks on Route 66." And how do I get on the topic of Reese Troop? I don't know. So we're talking about me living in LA, going back to LA. Can't afford it. I can't afford it. But thankfully, I'm gonna get down there. I'm gonna hang out with my friend Reese, and we're gonna get this story written and sold.
But what's funny is your life kind of became a little bit like Benjamin Button.
You know what? Who I'm actually contacting is, what was the show? The man was born with brain damage, but he was the best ping pong player.
Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump. I want to contact that writer because I've protected all my topics. I mean, they're all the reality topics of my life. I mean, getting prescribed ecstasy when I was 19 years old from the lead singer of Devo at his house with myself and my housemate and another friend of ours, and we're taking prescribed ecstasy. It was an actual prescribed medication back in the day.
Really did that.
He would bring out Japanese art pieces he had been collecting in Japan and stuff. So I think I'll get this thing sold. But
I would have thought you guys would be doing whippets, but I guess,
Now, what are whippets?
Well, because they sing Whip It, so...
Whip it good. I will say, that's one of the best. I love the 80s. That was I had no memory of anything, and when you get the memory back and you look at these things, the 80s, we had a lot of fun. I'm in my 50s, and you're probably too young to remember the 80s, but the 80s were a lot of fun.
I was born in there, so I do love the 80s. But
well, we had a lot of fun in the 80s.
And so do you know who was president when all this stuff happened to you 16 years ago?
I do not know. I do not know.
What was your last kind of like memory of that whole like experience and that trip? Like, do you even know how you caught colitis?
They say it's a cold sore as a kid is a form of a herpes, basically, and 1 out of 3 kids gets that in this country. Not the same sort of herpes that you have in private spots.
Right.
And apparently, because I'd overworked myself and I was so stressed out, I mean, work in the entertainment business sounds much more glamorous than it actually is. You deal with some of the most self-centered people in the whole wide world that worship themselves more than any of their fans do, and you know, you deal with people who get away with. I was working with a gentleman, I forget his name, but he passed away in the last year, and he was engaged at the time to a woman named Heidi Fleiss, who was the madame of all of the prostitutes in Beverly Hills, and he was a meth addict. And
he just died.
He just died.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know how to get on this topic once again, my dear. This is my problem. I started talking about me, myself, and I forgot what the topic was.
But I know we were talking about just your experience and your life.
Yeah, I just. I appreciate things much more so. I couldn't taste food for 2 years, and let me tell you, I don't care about status this or any of that other kind of bricky-bracky stuff like that. If I can get a car that gets me to the restaurant and I can get a good meal, I'm happy to have a good meal. And
but we got on the topic really because you were talking about one of your last memories and how stressful the entertainment business was, which kind of led you onto the vacation of all that happened.
Yes, I was one of these people who was doing very well financially, made plenty of money, more than my union. I mean, I was doing very well financially. I was working with the biggest movie stars in the world. My friend told me to tell you that I worked with Robert De Niro. That was the first movie star I worked with on a movie with Brad Pitt. No, not Brad Pitt. I did a movie with Brad Pitt, but Madonna. Who else? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I can't be in the business anymore, but I will hopefully make the money to get back to the city. It's my hometown, but I think I'll keep my home here because there's a lot of great things about this town that are coming up. The art movement is growing tremendously. People cannot afford to live in Southern California, so we've got a lot of wonderful, creative, artistic, strong people in many ways coming to this city, and I think this town has really beautified tremendously in the last few years.
So what about your friends that you had before then? Do they come around? Do you know who they were? Or do people still come up to you and say they know you and you don't know them?
I was walking in the Hollywood Hills. There's an old, an actor from way back in the day, I don't know, many, many years ago, had left his mansion and his gardens, his tennis court, his swimming pool, to his dog. And after his dog died, the city of Los Angeles inherited it, and they've converted it into a park. I don't know the name of it, but it's above the Hollywood Hills, just a little west of, I want to say, Highland or something. Anyways, I'm walking up in the Hollywood Hills and with a friend of mine, and what's her name? She won the Oscar twice for Best Actress. Blonde-haired girl.
Hilary Swank?
Blonde-haired girl from Texas. Started with a
Reese Witherspoon?
I think so.
Okay.
Blonde-haired.
Accent, like Southern accent.
I think so.
Okay, that could have been her.
I should look her up. Anyways, I think that's who it was. She won the Oscar twice anyways. And a friend of mine who gave me my first job doing commercials as a costumer, she and I were walking down the hill. I think it's Reese Witherspoon. Anyways, celebrity star was walking up the hills. She was my boss. I designed a TV series 100 years ago, and one of the directors, producers, and creators of the show was her boyfriend. So she'd make us breakfast and stuff. Well, I hadn't seen her for all these years, and I thought, well, I'm not going to call out to her. She's not going to remember me. She has people calling out to her all the time. So I walked by, and my friend goes, "You tell me you used to know that actress." And all of a sudden, I hear, "Eric, is that you? I thought that was you. Come here, give me a hug."
Did you play it off like you knew who that was?
Well, I did know her. You did.
You didn't know her name.
I didn't want to say, "Hi, remember me? I haven't seen you for 15 years. I know, because they're celebrities. They don't need that junk." Anyways, but it's funny how things turn around. I'm finding I feel like sometimes I wonder if we're not the games that are played on the computers, but 20, 30 years from now. I don't know if I'm a character and you're a character and they're playing against each other, because I think things are starting to become so ridiculously insane in my life that I kind of think, okay, well, it could be true or not. I'm going for the ride.
Are you going to write a book about this? I know you said you did this screenplay.
I've written the first episode of the TV series. And it's been protected at the Writers Guild already.
Thank goodness.
And I've got topics of living in 2 government overthrows in 6 months in Haiti, a lot of the topics I've talked to you about. So each episode we go to a different portion of my life because I had no memory of it at all. And I got some memories. There was another one, a friend of mine named Jill Gatsby. Her mother was the woman who was shot and murdered to death about 4 or 5 years ago on Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills.
Oh, man. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you more story. You're going to see a TV series. Everybody, come and watch my TV series.
I want to keep up with everything. Are you on social media?
I don't know how to use the phone or the computer. I know how to the phone. I only know how to ask it a question, and it'll tell me who people are because I don't know the name of our presidents or celebrities and stuff.
You don't know the name of your own street?
No, I own Cross Street, so I'll simply say photos of, and it'll show me the photos of. So thankfully, so that's kind of how I get around some of the brain damage. I feel like I'm one of those people who had. I was a strong person. I just happened to be missing portion of the leg and portion of the arm, but you can work around it with the, with the other options they give you to play with now, So.
What do you do now for your memory? Do you do crossword puzzles, play games? Do you see like a neurologist all the time? What are they doing for you to preserve what you have left?
Well, I help others. That's what I do. I was raised in a very, very self-centered family. Watched my parents become self-made multimillionaires, not once but twice. Watched them lose it all through the greed. They lost it all, made it up again and stuff. I was not invited to my father's funeral when I was 9 years old because my stepmother didn't want her stepsons at her husband's funeral. So I've had some really negative things, some real negative things. And I find that I used to fight back to try and you hurt me this much, you hit me once, I'm going to hit you twice. And you know what? I don't hit it back anymore. I let go and let them deal with themselves, and to divert myself from the negativity, I've been doing good things for other people. Little nothings go a long way. Just a little nothing goes a long way. I couldn't walk or talk. I couldn't taste food. So if I see somebody who wants a ride or looks hungry or something, I don't give homeless people the money because I don't want it to go buy their meth.
Right.
But I remember I was at my favorite restaurant, and there's a homeless guy out there reading the menu in the window, and I said, "Pal, it's a great restaurant. I've eaten here twice. I eat here twice a day. I eat here every day. You come in, you'll love it." He says, I'm not comfortable inside. I said, "Well, there's 3 seats outside. Come on, let me buy you lunch. We sat there and we had lunch together. And he said I was the first person to speak to him in 2 weeks. And you do a little nothing for somebody and you don't realize how much of a big deal that is. I have a 96-year-old lady who lives across the street from me, and I just choose to take her trash in and out for her so she doesn't have to do the walks every day. And, little nothings sometimes go a long way. It's kind of out of fashion to be nice and loving to one another just for no reason at all. And I think it's kind of a good thing to do. So
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I would love to keep up with your life, but you got to get social media.
Get me somebody who's 20 years old, doesn't know how to use write checks or mail things. I had a 20-year-old helping with my computer, knows everything about computers and phones, but didn't know how to put a stamp or address as to where the mail was going to or not.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty funny.
Yes, I will get a 19 or 20-year-old, and I'm still going to play the game with you folks. So
I love that. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Well, thank you. It was an absolute pleasure playing the game with you. Pleasure meeting you.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't want to be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing.
It's a mystery.
Hi, I'm Sparkle Sujan, and I am the host of the Everything Sparkle Show. I would like to invite you to come and hang out with me every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, as I interview the world one guest at a time. Everything Sparkle is available on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and CMAC.tv. Plus, if you're in the Central California area, you can watch on Comcast Xfinity Channel 93 or AT&T UVerse Channel 99. Hope to see you.